It was a warm summer morning on June 13, 2001, when life in the quiet neighborhood of Benson in Omaha, Nebraska, was disrupted by a mystery that still haunts the community. That day, 19-year-old Jason Anthony Jolkowski set out on a short walk just 8 blocks to meet a coworker for a ride to his part-time job. But somewhere along that familiar route, Jason vanished. No witnesses came forward, no surveillance captured his movements, and no clues were left behind. What began as an ordinary morning quickly spiraled into one of Nebraska's most baffling and heartbreaking missing persons cases. Jason was born on June 24, 1981, in Grand Island, Nebraska, to Jim Jolkowski and Kelly Murphy. By 2001, he lived with his parents and younger brother, Michael, in the Benson area, near 48th and Bedford Avenue. Those closest to him described Jason as a reserved and gentle soul, someone who valued his family deeply and was active in their Catholic church. He had a small circle of friends and a quiet lifestyle that offered little reason to suspect danger. Although Jason faced challenges due to speech and language learning disabilities, which sometimes caused others to underestimate him, he was intellectually bright and deeply motivated. He dreamed of becoming a radio DJ and was studying broadcasting part-time at Iowa Western Community College in nearby Council Bluffs. He also held a part-time job at Fazoli's, an Italian-American restaurant on 80th and Cass Streets, earning money while working toward his goals. Jason's life appeared stable and unremarkable. He was not involved with drugs or alcohol, had no known enemies, and showed no signs of distress or a desire to leave home. His routine was predictable, marked by household chores, work, and studies. On the morning of the 13th of June, 2001, this routine was disrupted by a simple request that set the stage for his inexplicable disappearance. The 13th of June, 2001, began like any other day at the Jolkowski residence. Jason was not scheduled to work at Fazoli's that day, as his car was in the shop for repairs due to a recent hailstorm. However, around 10:15 a.m., his manager called, asking if he could come in early to cover a staffing shortage. Unable to drive, Jason initially considered walking the roughly 4-mile distance to the restaurant, but decided it was too far. Instead, he arranged for a female coworker who had also graduated from Benson High School to pick him up. Because Jason struggled with giving directions, they agreed to meet at Benson High School, a familiar location just 8 blocks, approximately half a mile from his home. At around 10:45 a.m., Jason was last seen by his younger brother, Michael, and a neighbor, Chester Link, as he helped Michael bring the family's trash cans back from the curb to the garage. Jason was dressed in a white Chicago Cubs or Sammy Sosa t-shirt, a blue or black Chicago Cubs baseball cap, black dress pants, and black dress shoes. He carried a red Fazoli's work t-shirt and had no more than $60 in his possession. His brother watched him begin walking in the direction of Benson High School, a route through quiet residential streets with minimal pedestrian or vehicle traffic. The walk should have taken no more than 10 to 15 minutes. Between 11:15 and 11:30 a.m., Jason's coworker called the Jolkowski home to report that he had not arrived at the school. She had waited at Benson High School, even going to a nearby gas station to call Fazoli's before returning to work. Surveillance footage from the school was reviewed, but it showed no sign of Jason arriving or even approaching the campus. From that moment, Jason Anthony Jolkowski vanished, leaving no trace of his whereabouts. The Omaha Police Department was notified of Jason's disappearance, and an investigation began promptly. However, the case quickly became what one officer described as the most perplexing in 30 years of service. The residential route Jason was expected to take was thoroughly searched, with police interviewing neighbors and conducting ground searches within days. Despite these efforts, no witnesses reported seeing Jason after he left his home, and no physical evidence, such as his clothing, money, or work t-shirt, was ever found. Investigators checked Jason's bank account and cell phone records, but there was no activity after the 13th of June. His car remained at the repair shop, and his final paycheck was left unclaimed at Fazoli's Ramdu. Personal belongings in his room were untouched, with no indication that he had planned to leave. Early theories that Jason might have been a runaway were quickly dismissed. His family emphasized his responsible nature, close family ties, and lack of involvement in risky behavior. Jason had no history of running away, no known conflicts, and no reason to disappear voluntarily. The absence of surveillance footage was particularly confounding. In 2001, security cameras were less ubiquitous than today, but Benson High School's cameras should have captured Jason if he had reached the vicinity. The lack of footage suggested he never made it close to the school, narrowing the window of his disappearance to the short distance between his home and the meeting point. The suburban setting, in broad daylight, made the absence of witnesses even more puzzling. The Benson neighborhood was described as quiet, with nosy retirees and little traffic, yet no one reported seeing anything unusual between 10:45 and 11:30 a.m. Foul play became the leading theory, supported by Jason's family and investigators. Given his height and weight, a forced abduction in a busy neighborhood seemed unlikely without someone noticing. Speculation arose that Jason may have been lured into a vehicle or a nearby home by someone he knew or trusted, possibly under a pretext like needing help with a task. His trusting nature, noted by those close to him, could have made him vulnerable to such a scenario. Online discussions, particularly on platforms like Reddit, have suggested a neighbor or acquaintance from his church community as a potential suspect, though no evidence supports these theories. Other hypotheses, such as a hit-and-run accident or Jason falling into a storm drain, were considered but deemed improbable. A hit-and-run would likely have been noticed in the suburban setting, and it was found to have led to his death. The lack of a body, DNA evidence, or any personal items has left investigators with no tangible leads, and the case remains classified as an endangered missing person case with the Omaha Police Department.
2 decades have gone by and Jason Jolkowski's family continues to search for answers, hoping someone will come forward with new information.
No answers, no clues, just the reminder that it's been 20 years and no one knows what happened to Jason Jolkowski.
There's no leads. Nobody saw anything. And, the detectives just didn't find anything.
After losing their son, Jim and Kelly Jolkowski founded Project Jason on October 6, 2003 to support families of missing persons and raise awareness. Kelly became the organization's voice, completing over 100 hours of advocacy training and offering guidance to others. Their mission, "All missing persons are loved by someone," reminds the world of the lives behind each case. As of 2025, Jason Jolkowski remains missing, and his case continues to confound both authorities and advocates. Despite ongoing efforts by the Omaha Police Department, no definitive answers have emerged. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children has released age-progressed images to show what Jason might look like today in his 40s, keeping hope alive and his story visible to the public. For the Jolkowski family, the heartache of not knowing lingers quiet, constant, and deeply personal. Kelly has drawn strength from her faith, often referencing the biblical account of Mary and Joseph losing Jesus for 3 days, finding in it a reflection of her own experience, fear, confusion, and unwavering hope. The family continues to hold on to the belief that one day they will receive the answers they've longed for, whether through reunion or resolution. Jason's story stands as a poignant reminder of how a single, ordinary day can change everything, and of the enduring power of love, faith, and advocacy in the face of unresolved tragedy.